before we get into it, I want to thank Bob Iger, Kevin Mayer, Jimmy Pitaro, Burke Magnus, Matt Kenny, Glenn Jacobs, and everyone else at ESPN for all their hard work and helping build the sport and the brand over the last 7 years. The relationship with ESPN has been incredible. It's been a really good experience, and we appreciate everything they did for us. Who's got the first question?
3, 2, 1, go.
Episode 240, the last one of the year. It's UFC RIP ESPN, the last ever ESPN card. Lots to discuss for this final card, Meat Boy. Quickly, though, let's recap 239 that went down last weekend. Shout out to our homie Spleen Kid, Tango Down. What'd you make of the event? Low-key start to finish bangers. One of the most exciting cards top to bottom throughout the year. What'd you think of the co-meet, specifically Joshua Van takes the belt from Pantoja? What'd you make of it?
Yeah, let me be very clear that Joshua Van didn't really have to do anything and he got the belt. Like, that was just crazy. I mean, like, I think Josh Van is a legit fighter, but like, we didn't get anything from that. So whoever he fights next, they most likely had to earn it. Like, I'm not trying to throw shade or be mean about it or anything. I'm just like spitting the facts. Like, there's no way I'm picking Josh Van. Nothing happened, so there's no way for me to be sold that he is truly the champion or the GOAT. That being said, props to Josh Van. Like, what's a better way to win the title and get an easy W? Took no damage. It was a freak accident. You're getting a bag for it. You're getting all the fame, fortune, notoriety, all that cool stuff. And you didn't even have to, like, get punched. Like, so good for him. What an awesome way to get it, I guess. But we don't know anything, and you best believe I'm hammering whoever he fights next, most likely. Tatsuro. So, because I think he'll ragdoll him. But yeah, the card was awesome. There was two weird ones. The Moreno fight, that was a little sus weird, and then super unfortunate that what's his name? Pantoja had to get the body bag treatment. It's very, very, very unfortunate.
Yeah, you definitely did get the body bag treatment for sure, a la that fight against Dusty, right? Similar exact situation. And you mentioned Tatsuro Taira. Personally, before we even recap our Elva Meatlock, Joshua Van versus Taira to me makes the most sense. Hopefully for an early title fight, allow Pantoja to heal up. I mean, maybe the dude has to get surgery or something. It was pretty gnarly of an injury. Taira versus Van makes sense to me. And with the way that Taira spoiled our Meatlock, we had the Meatlock dog, Brandon Moreno. I don't see anyone really beating that guy. What'd you make of the stoppage, though? Did you think that it was early? I mean, some have argued that if Brandon Moreno remained in that position, he was just going to stay there and perhaps eat 30 seconds, 45 seconds more of the same strikes. Did you think it was a good stoppage by Mark Smith, or was it a little bit early and we got zucked out of another Meatlock dog?
I think we definitely got zucked out of a Meatlock dog, but was it bad stoppage, early stoppage? I would say so. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. It just seemed too sus, and like Moreno's a dog. Like, he's got that dog in him, and you didn't even let him try to eat. You just put him in the pound. Truly unfortunate. Even he was like, "What? Really? Like, come on."
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. And Moreno's not a dude who, protests many stoppages. He's, the dude is all respect, all class, and it was a solid 5 seconds of like, did they really just stop that fight? So it is what it is. Elva Meatlock. We're closing this year out with a heavy hammer, absolute meat lock of all locks. Before we jump into that one, though, I do want to give you your flowers. I mean, you said that it was going to be spoiled milk.
It's all downhill. Marab joins the sour milk club with Aljo. Peter Yan is the GOAT, and he will show that this weekend.
Would you make a Peter Yan? How'd you call that? You're the only one in the YouTube picking sphere that I can find who picked Peter Yan with elite confidence. So what gave you confidence that Yan was going to get that one done? And did he do exactly what you basically said he would?
Yeah, I mean, he did exactly what I said he would. He was going to ragdoll him. He's got his number, and even more confident once I found out that his arm was healed. Like in the first bout, he couldn't even throw that right arm, and boy, was he throwing it beautifully this fight. This was just an awesome display of how nasty No Mercy Piotr Yan is, and that's why I've been such a big fan for so long. So I'm glad everyone is now on the bandwagon again, because everyone jumped ship years ago. I hate to say I called it, but I called it. And I will admit, though, I didn't expect him to dominate that bad. I thought it was going to be a close, good fight. Like, Merab's a GOAT. Like, respect. Merab is sick. But I just felt like Peter Yan's been on this warpath of getting that one back, and boy did he get it back, and some. Like, that was just one of the best performances I've ever seen, and very very fun fight though. It was like almost any second, I feel like everyone's on their seat. Like, is this really happening, or is Peter Yan about to win this? And then you're like, okay, this is the round. This is when Merab turns up. Like, I feel like that's what everybody was having, and then it just never happened. You're like, damn, Peter's the guy.
Yeah, fair points. That round never came, right? The fight never turned. It was just start to finish, Peter Yan doing what he wanted to do, and it was fascinating to watch because, as the observer, as the fan, as the people who recognize how good Merab is, it was tough. It was strange to watch, right? Because this is Merab. He's been down before and always finds ways to come back. But Peter Yan, true Fern in your cap, you were all over that one. Hopefully the trilogy gets ran early in 2026 because I think that'd be a fascinating one. And you mentioned the point how a lot of people hopped off Peter Yan, but the dude is younger than Merab, right? I think he has a lot of perhaps wear and tear. He's been in the UFC for a long time, was the former champ, but he's got like split decision losses. He's still 30 years old. Like the dude is, arguably reaching his prime now, and it's a scary thought because Peter Yan absolutely destroyed a guy in the machine who no one had looked competitive against. So great call by you. Henry Cejudo went out, lost. Talbology, easy win, but dope conclusion to Cejudo's career. Bogdan Guskov fought Yan to a draw. Any last thoughts on UFC 239, or you trying to swap us through to RIP ESPN?
Yeah, I think we go straight into RIP ESPN absolute meatlock.
Yeah, move us over then. Easy meatlock. Joe Anderson, Brito Tubarão is taking on Melsik Baghdasaryan. Baghdasaryan 8-3, has lost 2 of 3. The lone victory comes against Tucker Lutz, who has never won a UFC fight. And right, Melky Zell, aka Milky Costa, taking on Morgan Charrier, the last pirate, who is coming in having alternating wins and losses. Does have a nice recent win when he finished Nate Landwehr in the 3rd round of their fight and picked up a bonus. And he did the same thing when he finished Gabriel Miranda, but he lost to Nathaniel Wood in there. He lost to Chepe Mariscal. He hasn't been able to string together consecutive victories yet since being in the UFC. And he's taken on Milky Costa, who all this dude has been doing is stringing together victory after victory, right? This dude's won 4 in a row, smoked Juicy J, smoked C-Rod, beat Andre Fili, finished Nurdenbecke. This dude's been smoking everyone he's facing and finds himself as a pick'em versus the last pirate who alternates all the time and is coming in off a recent win. So what do you make of this pick'em? Do you like Milky Costa to also get this one done, or is he too joining the Sour Milk Club?
You know, man, he could be joining the Sour Milk Club, but I don't know. I kind of like Milky Costa in this one. I don't know if it's gonna be a blow out of the water, but I think Milky Costa's got this.
It's interesting, right? Because it's a straight up pick 'em everywhere you look. Yet Tapology is very bullish on Milky Costa, 76% rolling with him, only 24% going with the Pirate. It's based on both sides. They anticipate a decision is most likely. If you're taking Milky Costa, do you see this fight being close, competitive, and ultimately going the distance, or does Costa get the sneaky finish that most aren't seeing?
I could see a sneaky finish, submission, maybe even TKO, but I think more submission.
Submission for Milky Costa. I'll go decision, I guess. I mean, the fact that this fight is a pick'em does make me wonder what am I missing on Morgan Charrier, because to me, I feel like Milky Costa should be a -150, -160 favorite in this one. It's Monday, right? So perhaps the line will widen as the week progresses, but I don't know. To me, I think Milky Costa is going to be way bigger, way more well-rounded, and as long as he can really mix it up and not get stuck on the feet and try to, go strike for strike with the Pirate, then I see him likely making Morgan Charrier walk the plank. So I'll go Costa by decision. Are you going finish?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Costa submission, 2nd round.
Let us know in the comments if you're taking the Pirate or the Milkman, but either way, the next one's interesting. It's Cesar Almeida taking on Cesare Oleg Zaychuk, aka the brother of my boy Michel Oleg Zaychuk. And this dude, Oleg Zaychuk's brother, is 16-3, coming into the UFC with a lot of rage. And oftentimes we will talk about nepotism and these dudes, whether it's the Walkers, whether it's the Jourdains, like some of these dudes joining the promotion. Are they deserving, or are they just riding the coattails of their brothers? He's taking on Cesar Almeida, who is 2-1 in the UFC. Only loss was a split to Roman Kopylov. We know that they've been trying to, I guess maybe they haven't been trying to, but if available, they could fast track the narrative of Cesar Almeida versus Poatan. Obviously, these are way different stratospheres these days, but you get the idea given the context pre-UFC. Almeida, though, is a dude who's pretty old and is finding himself as a decent dog against the potential nepotistic debutant Oleg Zaychuk. So what do you make of this one? Are you surprised that Oleg Zaychuk, despite debuting, is a -200 favorite against Cesar Almeida, or is Cesar Almeida just lacking the experience that he has, despite the fact that he's debuting?
Yeah, the fact that he's debuting, I don't know. That's just a hard one where I think Olszewski, with the experience he has, ah, I don't know. I like Caesar in this one just because he's a dog, but if he gets taken down, we kind of saw what happened, right? Like Almeida's not the best at the grappling aspect, but I don't know. Will this guy take him down? Will he not? If he stays on the feet, I really doubt he's gonna win this, right? Like I don't know. I just don't see a realm where like he's gonna outstrike this guy that's beaten Poatan, like you were saying. So I don't know. This is a hard one, but it's definitely red flags that this guy's a favorite. I will say that. But I gotta take Almeida until I see otherwise.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, when we compare Cesare Oleg Zaychuk to Michel Oleg Zaychuk, I mean, Oleg Zaychuk, pretty well rounded, but the dude shows up trying to stand and bang, right? So if his little bro is anything like him, then perhaps that could be the only recipe for potential disaster against Almeida, who, as you mentioned, has zero ground game, right? If Oleg Zaychuk goes in there, gets a couple takedowns, this fight's probably over, nullifies the striking right away, and makes this a pretty boring contest. The kid, though, is 25 years old and basically has all KOs, right? So it's going to be fascinating to see. Is he going to try and go out there, prove a point, finish the striker, or is he going to approach it with a little bit more intelligence and nuance, making it a true mixed martial arts contest with the takedowns? We shall see. Ultimately, if you're taking Cesar Almeida, is he going to sleep this debutant?
Yeah, I mean Caesar's got to win by sleeper. I mean, I guess he could win by points, but I don't know. I think the longer the fight goes, the worse it'll be. So he's got to sleep him. He's got to put him right to night mode and get this dub ASAP. Also, he needs to make a wave. I mean, if for him to ever get to that title, like, dude, if he got that one win, he would be right there fighting Pereira. They're trying to set that up so bad, but then he got snuffed. So we'll see. But this is the first step into coming back. But they could be using him as a stepping stone to get to Poatan. I don't know. This is very interesting. I'm excited to see though, but I got to take Almeida in this one until I see otherwise.
Yeah, fair points. And one of these dudes is going to take that next leap promotionally, right? I mean, this fight is 3 fights from the top. Obviously, it's an apex scrapper, but nonetheless, an opportunity for both dudes to propel themselves a level or two. Ultimately, I'm going back and forth on this one. I could definitely see a world where Cesar sleeps Cesare, but all by the hype, just because, we faded Topuria's bro a couple weeks ago. Another example of UFC nepotism. I'm going to bank on this one being maybe Cesare is not only the brother of Oleg Zaychuk, but the best Oleg Zaychuk. We'll see. This will be a good first test against Cezinha for sure. I'll ever so slightly, though, go Oleg Zaychuk by either late finish or close decision. You got Almeida by finish?
Yeah, I got to take Almeida by finish.
Cesar or Cesare. Either way, though, the co-meet is another good one. Kevin Vallejos, -295, is a pretty fat favorite against Giga Chikadze, who is +220, despite at one point being the dude at featherweight, right? I mean, it wasn't a long time ago when Giga was riding high, absolutely smoking everyone, and it hasn't been that of recently. So he finds himself as a sizable dog in this co-meet against a dude in Vallejos who doesn't have a ton of UFC experience, but when we have seen him, he's really been smoking dudes, right? He obviously finished Sung Woo Choi, aka Sting, but Then again, Sting gets finished by everyone. And then he most recently picked up a nice win, a dominant one over Danny Silva. So this is a new level of Giga. Giga hasn't won since 2023. They're meeting in the middle, essentially. Do you like Kevin Vallejos to continue dominating as he's been doing, or is this going to be a different level than Sung Woo Choi and perhaps Giga can cash and rediscover his sauceless dog? Who are you taking?
Yeah, this is a tough one, but I mean, I gotta go with Giga. Giga, he's been looking like crap. He's not the best, but Giga kick, he lands one of those. This guy's ribs are gonna crumble like Marab's were crumbling versus Piotr Jan. So I think I gotta take Giga in this. Man, those odds are so insane. I mean, there was a moment where the world, I think, thought that Giga was the future champ. Giga was the guy. Giga was gonna do it, and then we kind of saw how that all played out. But I'm hoping that he has a Peter Yan moment and this is his comeback story and he should get this done. It is crazy to see how bad of odds, like how good of odds we're getting for him because there was a moment where, I mean, he was like a minus 500 and stuff versus very, very better fighters, I would argue.
Yeah, and perhaps it's a product of, Giga fighting pretty in underwhelming performances the last couple of years, or the odds makers are just that bullish on Kevin El Chino Vallejos, who is only 24 years old but has looked pretty nice. You just question the level of competition and if it is the same level that will work against a guy as tough as Giga Chikadze. But Chikadze, as you mentioned, has those lethal kicks. The dude is way bigger, way longer, crazier reach when compared to El Chino. He's also way older though. He's almost pushing 40. El Chino, a spry 24. So, are you at all worried that Kevin Vallejos, the true new breed of mixed martial artists, is going to go in there, fight a smart fight, get likely a decision against a guy in Giga who has proven that if you're not standing banging with him and you're just really mixing it up, then he's probably going to lose the contest. So, like, my question, I guess, is do you see any world where Kevin goes out there and try to go strike for strike for him as opposed to mixing it up, frustrating Giga, and ultimately just winning a decision?
Yeah, I honestly, the guy Giga's fighting, it makes sense. I think the whole hype behind him is, he's on a great streak right now, and then his only loss recent times is Gene Silva, which that's no shame in that, and he went the distance with him. So it wasn't like Gene knocked. I mean, Gene's finished everybody besides his recent loss. But that's versus, one of the best in the world, makes more sense. So this guy is no joke. This is a big levels test, I feel like, for both these dudes. But if Giga loses to this guy, I mean, Giga just like he wasn't even the top 15 at all. He was just getting almost lucky or fighting, getting good fights that capitalize on his style. But yeah, so this would be a great fight. I gotta take Giga just because those odds are so juicy. But this kid could absolutely dominate Giga. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Typology's seeing it that way. They think it's going to be dominance. Giga's getting smoked. I got to go with them, Meat Boy. I don't think Giga wins another UFC fight. Definitely don't think he beats a dude, even in Kevin Vallejos. So I'm going Vallejos, likely by decision, but it's possible Vallejos goes out there and maybe subs this guy. I could see him getting some takedowns and making a statement because the dude has a lot of TKOs, but is known to pull off a submission or two, and perhaps he sends Giga to PFL unconscious via submission. So I'm going to go Vallejos by YOLO sub. You got Giga by decision or KO?
I got Giga by decision.
Yeah, hopefully Vallejos will be making similar noises from body kicks as Marab was making when Jan was landing. But either way, swap us through the last fight of 2025, the last fight ever to be on ESPN, and the UFC has graced us with an absolute banger that everyone has been clamoring for. Manel Kopp taking on Brandon Royval. Royval, I know you have been scoping as a potential juicy dog at plus 220 versus Manel Kopp, about a 3-1 favorite who obviously is, I think he rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but it's tough to argue with the skill set and well-roundedness that Manel Kopp brings. So in this one, the fans, you got to imagine, will be fully behind Brandon Royval. He, to me, is a very likable and fan favorite, fan-friendly fighter. But I don't know if it's going to matter in this one against Manel Kopp, who the odds makers love despite the fan reaction. So what do you make of this meat event? Are you taking Raw Dog as a Raw Dog, or is Starboy going to sleep him?
Yeah, I mean Starboy, he definitely could get it done, but he's not. I mean, Raw Dog's no joke. I mean, Raw Dog is my, second fake lock. I really like these odds. It's so juicy. I mean, plus 220. You're looking at Raw Dog, who he's beaten. Man, okay, I just don't think he's that guy. If he is, hey, this is the fight to prove me wrong, but I just don't think he's that guy yet. He's not on that caliber.
Yeah, I mean his recent wins, and we'll have the comments let us know if they're impressed or not. Ode Osborne, Jamagulov, David Dvorak, Felipe Dos Santos, pretty solid. Bruno Silva, solid, and then most recently he smoked Almabayev, who is on a nice little streak, or at least was himself. Royval, meanwhile, this is a dude, and we were discussing earlier. He's got a victory over Tyra, right? And while yes, one could argue there was a questionable aspect to Tyra's finish over Moreno last weekend, he was the first dude to finish Moreno, right? I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. And the fact that Royval was able to, yes, it was a close competitive fight, but either way, officially earn a split decision victory over Tyra, who will probably be champ in the next 6 months. That's a very impressive feat for sure. So if you are bullish on Raw Dog, is it something about the strength of schedule that you're impressed by? And why do you think the odds makers are as bullish on Manel Kopp as they are, given the fact that Royval has fought better guys and beaten better guys?
Yeah, no, I think I don't. That's a good question, but for Roy Val, it's hard for me to believe that he's going to be donezo like Moreno. Like Moreno, Roy Val, they're kind of same era. McCabe's this new guy, hungry, um, fighter. But I don't know, just McCabe is just such a dork, dude. He is so obnoxious. Roy Val is the raw dog, bro. He's so sick, and he's just more fun to fight, more fun to watch fight, and I don't know. I just don't think. Is Joshua Van gonna smoke Manel Kape? Yeah, absolutely. That's a joke. So it's like I just don't think Manel Kape's the guy, dude. Like he's lost many times. Raw Dog basically only loses to Pantoja, then Joshua Van, who is now the new champ. So I don't know. The people that he's lost to, I think, are just different caliber than who Manuel Cape's lost to, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Kopp has some losses, similar ones. Pantoja, obviously, he lost to Makayev, who doesn't lose essentially, but also is no longer in the UFC. But then, you mentioned some of the other losses. Nicolau he lost to, Olka Sasaki he lost to Kai Asakura, who was clearly exposed in his first UFC fight. Lost to Horiguchi, who's like kind of fake back. But either way, to your point, Kopp does have some at least more questionable losses than for sure the recent ones of Royval. So in this one, Meat Boy, I've been going back and forth. I was kind of low key leaning Manel Kopp because I like his speed, I like how well rounded he is, but at minus 300, I don't know. If this was closer to a pick 'em, I would probably go with Kopp, but I think the value is there for Royval. I like where your head's at, and I would rather, throw a dink on Royval and be able to root for the guy as opposed to YOLO the heavy hammer on Manel Kopp and not even be enthused when having to cheer him on, right? He's just kind of, you know, I agree with your summation of Starboy. He's not a very well liked, seemingly dude in the promotion versus, or at least, juxtaposed with Roy Val, who obviously is beloved, right? So let's go, Roy Val. Is he going to get a finish in this one, or is this going to be a close decision, maybe even a split decision?
I think Raw Dog will get a finished first or second round. I can see it's just normal Raw Dog fashion. Drops some, gets a submission, something like that. But this is going to be a fast, explosive fight. If it goes decision, that will surprise me. I'm not going to lie. I think somebody's getting finished in this. And I think Brandon Orville has more tools, more experience. And he's still so young. He's 33. Like he's peaking right now. To where like I think he's just going to outperform.
Yeah, I like that a lot. In fact, I even like maybe Roy Val third, fourth, or fifth round finish because this is a dude who his last four fights, three of them have been 5 round contests. Three of them went all 5 rounds. Starboy, we've seen gas out in third rounds of fights before, and the dude has definitely never fought 5 rounds in the UFC. So if this fight, if Roy Val is able to not get finished in the first round, second round, the longer this fight goes, Roy Val's a dude who wakes up and runs 20 miles because he's bored, right? This dude's cardio is insane, so I can see a late finish potentially being in the works for a gassed out cop who has never been really taken into deep waters, and Roy Val is a dude who would love to take him there. So I kind of like the idea of a third, fourth, or fifth round raw dog finish. Any last thoughts on the meat event, on the last fight ever to be aired on ESPN?
No, truly unfortunate. This is the last. I mean, it's not really that because it should be cheaper now, so that's gonna be props. So I'm very excited to see how this, what is it, Paramount deal it goes. A little skeptical, but I have high hopes where it could be very good for everyone and very cool. But yeah, pretty glad they're going with ESPN. ESPN was pretty insufferable. Like you had to make an account, then you buy the pay-per-view. It's just like, why is there so many layers? Like, keep it simple, stupids. Like, what are they doing? Making it so difficult, so many barriers, and like people don't like barriers to entry of really anything. So that's probably another reason why they're probably done with ESPN. It's just like, you guys are just being too stingy or weird. I don't know, but it was a big thing for them. But man, talk about a bizarre. I feel like that speaks in itself, to be honest. The UFC is going, hey, here's what we're gonna finish you off with. This is what you're worth. Doggo. Like this card is low key dust. If they finished it with last weekend's card, I'd be like, yo, that's the way to go out with a bang. But they went out with a solid bang, but there's still one more card that's gonna leave a sour taste in most people's mouths, and people will forget about how sick the card was before.
Yeah, it is interesting that they're sneaking this
Like,
final dinker in, as opposed to ending with what was an amazing event last weekend. You almost
weird.
know this will be a deflating weekend of fights, rather, just compared to what we got to witness last weekend for sure. But any last thoughts, me boy? Episode 240.
No, this is an RIP ESPN, and wish him the best.